Good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful Sunday morning out here in Virginia, and the fall leaves are just starting to come out here and there. Sorry if I got a bunch of sun in my face. I heard a bunch of crashing around up the creek a little ways, and nobody answered when I called, so I wanted to just kind of keep an eye on that direction. Well, I'm just taking a nice Sunday morning hike this morning, and I wanted to give a good shout out to the user on Bushcraft USA called Your Boring Friend. That man has... acorns are falling like crazy. That man has really made my entire holiday season. Actually, a few weeks ago there was a posting for an adventure sworn knife that was the white linen micarta with the green micarta spacers, and I made the comment that someday I hope to own one very similar to it. Your Boring Friend ended up winning that auction and PM'd me and was asking me if I had ever had any adventure sworn knives or anything like that. I told him no, I hadn't, and the gentleman went and did something that I'm going to find hard to repay. I'll have to pay it forward, I think, because I don't think he'd take any favors back. But he went and sent me his ESSE Laser Strike. Now, originally it was just to test out, but through the course of the PMing back and forth, he told me that he wanted me to go ahead and keep it. And that really was pretty amazing. Thank you very much. It's something that I've never really been gifted a knife this nice before, or been shown that kind of stranger kindness, I guess I'd say, because he doesn't know me from anybody. Anyway, this is my first time out using it. I have been pretty busy working 2 jobs and taking care of my little daughter while my wife's in school, so this is my first opportunity to come out in the woods and really play around with it. It's nice to get out and breathe fresh air that's not, in a call center or somebody's basement. So alrighty, well, I'm just going to try and thrash on this thing a little bit. It came quite sharp. However, a couple passes on the strop, it is screaming. There you go. Hopefully that focuses. It is very sharp now. Just to do a quick comparison, my previous bushcraft knife, Condor Bushlore, good blade. Bought it from Baryonyx. 42 blades on BC USA, highly recommended. And had some campers down the way. Didn't know exactly what their deal is. They were kind of hollering at me when I hiked past them, but no worries. Anyway, just wanted to give you a quick size comparison. I may reshoot this with some better video. There's your thickness. Obviously different grinds. And let's see. Blade length, handle to handle. Mosquitoes kind of bad. Blade length's a little shorter, however the handle on the Bushlore itself is a little longer. So, we'll see how this works. I've really come to enjoy this. This has been my main outdoor blade for a long time. I went and added some thumb scallops to it, help with the grip a little bit, but that's for another day. Today we're going to be talking about this one here. So, I'm going to cut up some wood and get it ready to start batoning and processing with. That's one thing that I'm excited to do, is really try out the batoning capabilities. The Bushlore will split stuff, but it's pretty thin. This with the 3/16 inch blade that should process it a little bit better. So that's what we're going to do real quick. I'll pause the video and we'll be back when I got some wood ready to process. Well, I found some good standing deadwood. I'm really not up on my tree ID. I should need to get better at that, but it was some type of conifer. It's nice and resiny. I'm not sure if it's pine or fir or what, but kind of full of knots and gross. It's about 3 inches in diameter, 2 to 3 inches. Looks like there may even be a little bit of fat wood in there. Cool. I'm gonna have to look at that some more as we go. Alrighty, well, I didn't film myself sawing it up because you all know what that looks like, and I didn't really want to be all sweaty on camera. So we're gonna just try and do some batoning. I gotta say, I love the Kydex sheath that comes with this. I am normally a leather guy and thought I always would be. I've never really had Kydex before, but I'm not in any way worried about dinging that up, scratching it. Don't have to treat it, to keep it waterproof or anything like that. So we'll see. I may be a convert. So let's give this a try. All right. It's not oak or anything, but that is some pretty tough wood with all those knots. That smells good. Smells really good. This is really resinous. Should burn well. I don't have time for a really big one today, or I would have kind of got some really thick woods and whatnot from the area, but as is, I've only got a couple of hours out here because my wife wants to go shopping, and where we live, the nearest shopping complex is about an hour drive one way. So I've just got a little bit of time. I'm gonna cook up some brunch, I guess you'd say, and head back in. Just enjoy a nice little day in the woods. Now, I'm not really going to do a whole review and heavy comparison of the Bushlore versus the Laser Strike, but I am, however, going to try splitting the exact same piece of wood with the Bushlore just to see if I can feel any difference. And this one's just as sharp as the other one. I won't show you. You have to take my word on it, but yeah, good. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Just wanted to see if it would take it. Obviously it did. So yeah, let's split some more of these up. I'm not sure how I feel about the coating. I've never owned a knife that's been coated before, so time will tell as to whether or not I'm going to strip this or not. And later you'll see that I actually start the fire using the Bushlore and my ferro rod because I haven't squared the spine on this and I don't want to jack up the edge. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure yet. It's a little bit bigger piece. Gotta say, I do like the micarta handles. Never had a knife with those before either. Only wood. I mean, I love knives. I've had knives my whole life, but most of them have been really, well, some of them were downright cheap, but I'll say inexpensive for the most part. Just because, first of all, I didn't know any better until I met the fine folks on the forums, especially BC USA. It's taught me a lot about knife steel and quality and grinds and all that, so we'll see. Oh, I got some wet in there. Gross. Has been raining a bit lately, so I don't expect it'll be too terribly difficult to get this going. I mean, it's not wet, but it's a little bit damp. Either way. One thing I wasn't too sure about was this big old finger choil. Like, that is a super comfortable handle right there. Fits your hand well. However, where the blade is, that really puts some tension on the outside of my wrist. If I try to use it this way, it really ends up just not being very comfortable to use. When you choke up in that finger choil, I'm still getting used to where I need to hold for the different tasks and whatnot, and I'll get used to it. I mean, I think I can get used to it. It's just something totally different grip and everything, and different angles than I'm used to. It does make nice shavings though. Now we'll get to that later. Keep it on it. This is the closest knife that I have to a chopper right now. Gnarly knots in this piece. I do kind of like that you can beat on the micarta as well as the blade, at least from what I've read. Seems to be holding up all right. It's a thick blade. It's nice. Actually, I take back what I said a moment ago. I do have a kukri that I've played around with and modded a little bit. I'll have to bring that out and do a video on it, but I haven't used it much, and so I can't really comment as to its effectiveness. It does feel good in the hand. I had to put a new handle on it. The one it came with was just crap. But tell you what, the Bushlore, I do enjoy it. However, I always had a little bit of fear as to how hard I could hit it. You know, from reading the different things about, you know, steel hardness and Condor quality control. So far, it's not failed me at all, obviously. But this knife, you pick it up and you start doing this kind of stuff with it, and it just seems like it's begging to get beat on and hit. And pounded, so we will oblige. Look at that. I don't know if you can quite tell, but those knots are really resinous and hard. And it is shearing through them, leaving almost a glass-like smooth finish. Check out the blade. Still shaves. I gotta say, that 1095, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Oh. Tell you what, it is nice to be out. Like I was saying earlier, I work 2 office jobs throughout the week, one at a call center and one at a, call it a community outreach center that sometimes helps victims of domestic abuse find a safe place to be. I'll leave it at that. But that's been some rewarding work. Tell you what, alright, well, I'm going to break the rest of this down into some smaller pencil-sized pieces and whatnot. And so I don't usually like lanyards, but I put that guy on there because sometimes I thought I might want to do a little bit of chopping. So, pinky lanyard's nice. This was always something I was a little bit afraid to do with the Bushlore. Just pound it in and twist the blade. Like that. I was always a little bit afraid that I'd snap the tip off. Of course, it never happened, but just never quite sure, you know. We'll see. We'll see how this ends up. Whether this becomes a primary knife, one that I take out once in a while when I'm in the mood for a more, I guess you could say, tactical style blade. I'm usually incredibly over-prepared when I come out, and I end up carrying way too much stuff, and 3 or 4 knives, 2 hatchets, and, well, maybe that's a little exaggeration, but not too bad. I like sharp things, and I like to play with all of my sharp things. It just seems sad to leave them at home, so oftentimes I'll come out with more. Today was an exercise in self-control. That's all I brought was my saw. It's kind of a no-namer that I've had for a while. Cuts pretty well. Ultimately I'll replace it, but for now it's still going. Brought that. Of course I brought my Bushlore. Just small pocket knives in my pocket that I always have anyway. But this Laser Strike is my main cutting, chopping, wood processing tool for the day. So this is a big step for me. I'd normally do this closer to the ground, down on my knees, or I can get some more leverage with my arm, but this log is just so handy. I think it makes for a nice filling platform. Sorry I'm so distracted. I'm normally completely alone up here. There were some folks down the way, down the path, that were a little less than pleased to see me this morning, and I don't know exactly what that means. There's some interesting folk that live in my area, so better to be safe than sorry. Just keep my eyes open, my wits about me. As you can see, feathers up pretty nice. And of course, this is straight grain conifer, but okay, set that aside. Huh? It's not hurting my wrist at all. Seems to be working. I'll try choking back a little bit. Still doable that way. Not exactly how I prefer it. Coming up on it like that's a lot better. That jimping right there, while not super aggressive, is giving me a little bit of a hot spot in my palm. So maybe I'll try it this way. Makes good curls. I'm just gonna do a quick comparison with the Bushlore. It feels so different. Interesting. That's frustrating. I'm all used to the flat grind now. Don't quite have the sweet spot of my Scandi. Just wanting to dig in real bad, switching back and forth. rather than get frustrated, because normally I can make freaking awesome curls with this thing, I'm just going to set it aside. That'll probably be the last time we see that today, except for maybe striking the fire steel. Alrighty. Got my prep finished up. Gonna go ahead and get this started. Like I said, I'm gonna use the Bushlore for the actual ignition, because I have not. There you have it. If I had taken my time and got some finer shavings in there, it would have been a little bit easier with the ferro rod, but like I said, I don't have a whole lot of time today. Anyway, so, yeah, look at that. Good. Alrighty, well, let that burn down to some coal. Build it up a little bit. Beautiful thing, a dirty blade with a ferro rod strike all over it, you know? Build up a good coal base. There you have it. Fire made mostly with this. Someday I'll have to try out that bow drill divot. I've never had success with one of those, or bow drill at all, but I don't know, we'll see. So far, I like it. It's a good knife. All right. Well, got some bacon flavored hot dogs frying up in a little bit of oil. Can you believe we only had one egg in the house this morning? We need to go shopping. So unfortunately, I only have enough for one. It's all right though. Well, what the heck, there's something. That'll work. Looky there. I made a spatula. If you ever go to Cracker Barrel, it's one of my wife and our favorite restaurants, we enjoy it, order their breakfast and get their pancakes with maple syrup. Now this isn't maple syrup, I've just taken the glass bottle and filled it with a little bit of oil to take when I go camping. It's a solid bottle, plus it's kind of fun, class, but that's a handy little size. Plus it's pretty good maple syrup. Well, hey, I normally don't like to do the, hey, watch me eat my food, guys, videos. You know, I just found them kind of weird, but I figure I'll just talk a little bit while I eat this, but just reflect a little bit on the day. Surprisingly, that turned out okay. What with the, let me see here. No seasonings and pretty much just bacon flavored hot dogs is the main flavor. And only one egg. I'd like to have more, but guess I'll just have to go home and make some food there as well. You know, it's a nice snack. Should get me back. I'm only about a mile up in here anyway from my house. I always forget to hydrate when I'm out doing little excursions or outings like this, and especially hikes or campouts. And here where I'm at in Virginia, it is seriously humid. Even now still, I'm all sticky and sweaty just from the little bit of moving around I've been doing. But hydration, man. I tell you what, it's been a busy week. Busy week, and this is probably some of the nicest time I've spent, other than the time I've spent with my little girl and my wife. But I don't see my wife very often, as she's a full-time student right now. And like I said earlier, I'm working 2 jobs, and they're both night jobs. So I take care of the little one all day, and then I go to work at night after she gets home from school, after my wife does. And so, yeah, we don't get to see each other very often, but I get to spend a lot of good time with my little daughter. She's my world, man. I love her so much. But I'm sure, as all of you know, I'm preaching to the choir. A little bit of alone time is just wonderful. A little bit of quiet time out in the woods and making a fire, cooking over the fire. I mean, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but it really makes me feel good, happy, peaceful, relaxed. I'm just going to kind of give you a panorama view of where I've been today. Sorry for the shaking. This is actually my very first video that I've made with the intention of sharing it with anybody. So please be gentle. Post up any ideas, considerations that you have, or recommendations for improving the quality. Don't know if you can hear it or not, but right over that little hill, whatever you want to call it, right over there, just over that, down that little draw, nice little creek is trickling along. I love the sound of running water as well. But let's see. Too bad it's not colder. Got a good bed of coals there. You know, I'd heat up some water and brew some tea, but you know, as it is, it's just, let's get this set back down. There we go. It's just a little too warm for that. So we'll just drink the water cold, which tastes awesome as well. Alrighty. Well, I'm about to get all cleaned up. I'll throw some stills into the thread as well, so those that either can't watch video or don't want to sit through my ramblings can check out the pictures, and I'll do a write-up of it also. Okay, well, thank you for coming along with me. It's been a good day, and we'll be hiking out here shortly. So until next time, guys.